Welcome to The Greenlight. I'm your host, Shayla Neese, and I'm so grateful you've taken the time to listen to our Greenlight conversation. Before I intro my guest, be sure to leave a comment for the show. I truly value your feedback and how you feel about the guest, so thank you in advance. Today's show is the finale episode for Season 1, and I have the pleasure of talking to Taryn Anchrum. Taryn is the founder of Top 10 Management, which is an Atlanta-based management company for creatives, and she's dropping a lot of wisdom for our 10th episode. Taryn is bringing the heat and giving us her roots in the entertainment industry, the things she looks for in a potential client, how she balances a demanding career, and knowing when it's time to unplug and be still, and so much more. So let's get into it. And so, Taryn, I'm super excited to speak with you, and I kind of just want to jump right into it and learn a little bit of like what inspired you to get into a career as an artist manager.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I'm super excited, kind of nervous, but I'm happy I'm here nonetheless. What inspired me to get into my career as an artist manager? So I've always grown up around music. My dad, he worked at ASCAP for quite some time. My goddad is John Platt, who's now the CEO and chairman of Sony Music Publishing, and I have a cousin by the name of Nicole Ray, who works with like Missy Elliott and Timberland, who was real big in like the 90s, and still to this day she does amazing things. So I've always been around music. Even in my household, my mother was a hip hop R&B head, same with my dad. We just had a real appreciation for it, and so I grew up always, creative in some sort of creative outlet, whether it was band, whether it was chorus, or I did school plays. But I did want to explore a life in entertainment, and so um, I suddenly or quickly learned that I have incredible stage fright. And so I
Wow.
decided, I had my stage fright was crazy. And so there were, times that I did get in front of the spotlight and I performed, but when it came time to do like my own music and things of that nature, I just was too afraid. But I love the process of it. I love the creation of everything, how you ideate, how you talk through ideas. And so I decided to focus on more so behind the scenes position. But I just knew that I needed to be in music, I needed to be in entertainment. And so in college, I was a part of an entertainment organization that was called Panther Entertainment Group, but it's now called National Collegiate Entertainers Group. And I worked my way up from being president all the way up to, I worked my way up from being a member all the way up to being a president. And within that organization, it sort of served as an ecosystem for creatives. Anything creative that you could think of would be in that organization, and it sort of operated like a label on a collegiate scale. So all these people are going to school for the things that they want to do when they graduate, like being a photographer or working in marketing, working in event coordination, production, social media management, anything that you can think of. And then there was also, the people that wanted to be in front of the fans, singing, dancing, rapping, all of that too, while getting their education. So we created this organization that allowed us to do that, and that allowed us to take what we learned in class and apply it to real world situations. And that's really where I got my start in dealing with artists and managing them and their day-to-day duties or their day-to-day lives, making sure that they had like expectations from us and vice versa, and just really kind of getting my hand in the managing thing. And I fell in love with it. And so when I graduated from college in 2020, the world, of course, was at a pause. And at that time, I was doing my thing of looking for a job in the industry. I had internships under my belt, and I was looking forward to taking my knowledge that I learned from college and my experience from internships and applying them to or going into a building, and working my way up to whatever it is that I wanted to be. But like I said, the world was kind of going through something at that point, and so a lot of companies were doing more layoffs than they were doing
Mm,
hiring. So I kept getting a lot of no's. I kept getting a lot of, not right now, or thank you for applying. We decided to go in a different direction. And I got tired of being told no. And so I'm like, I have all this experience under my belt from 4 or 5 years of working in this entertainment organization. And we
yeah.
worked with a lot of major people. We worked with Beats. We've worked with labels like Atlantic. Um, we worked with like RCA. We worked with a lot of people. And so like, I have all this experience under my belt. I know how to deal with artists. I know how to strategize. I know how to ideate, and I know how to create a plan for artists to be successful. So I'm just going to focus all of my attention and resources and all the knowledge that I gained in college, and put it into something that I am the head of. So that's how Top 10 Management became to be, and I became this artist manager.
How did
So
you get the name Top 10 Management? Like, what's the meaning behind it?
um, it kind of just came to me one day. Of course, my name starts with a T.
All right.
Um, um, I loved creating playlists. So I
Mm.
was actually living in like LA at the time. I had an internship with Universal Music Publishing in the creative department. And all I would do is a lot of research. I would just look up songs of different artists, and I discovered a lot of artists that weren't getting the attention that they needed. And so, and also, like, yeah, I lived in Atlanta. I was from Atlanta, and so I had access to all these people who created all this
Mm.
amazing music. And so, um, I decided to create a playlist, and it was called Top 10 by Taryn. And so it would be like 10 of my favorite R&B records at the
Oh.
time. And then I had two. I had R&B, and then I had hip hop. So 10 of my favorite R&B artists and their favorite songs on there, or my favorite songs on there, and then 10 rap artists and favorite songs of theirs. So I just took Top 10 by Taryn, and I was like, let me do Top 10 Management. I always felt like the Roman
Ooh.
numeral, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
always felt like the Roman numeral for 10 was such a powerful looking
It
symbol.
is. Now that you
Yeah.
say it, yeah, because I love like the Roman numeral 4, but 10 is also
Hmm.
good too. But that's
Yeah.
interesting. Would you ever
Hmm.
make like your playlist live, or are they already live when you did those top 10?
I was doing them weekly, and I would
Okay.
update them weekly, but I'm such a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, so
Mm,
like
me
the paying
too.
attention. Hey, Virgo.
Hey.
And so, like, when I did my playlist, it would take me like an hour to an hour and a half, because I would work on like transitions and how
Mm.
this song would flow into the next song. And I would always focus on, or I would always like emphasize, do not put this on shuffle. Do not shuffle it.
Ooh.
Listen to it all the way through, because I felt like people took time to create these songs and create a
Oh yeah.
story. And so music is, of course, subjective, but like when I curated my playlist, there's obviously like a reason why I wanted this song to flow into this song to flow into this song. So it was live, but it is time consuming, and it got
Yeah.
to a point where I couldn't keep up with it. So I haven't updated it in a while, but I am going to, that is on my like to-do list next year, is to like really push that playlist, so I can also like expand the top 10 brands, so it doesn't just necessarily consist of like just my artists. I want, you to visit this playlist and listen to all the top 10 records that I
Yeah.
think are amazing out right now, including my artists and some artists that you may not know of. And so that's definitely on my to-do list. So yeah, I would definitely make them back live. It's just I got to get out of my head about being a perfectionist and
Yeah.
making sure they flow into another one. But that's definitely on my to-do list.
Yeah, because like I'm with you. I take my playlist very seriously. Like I have to
Hmm.
literally like listen to songs over and over to make sure, okay, when this song fades out, what's the next perfect setup? Like I totally
Hmm.
get it. Because like before you talked about the background of your name, I thought top 10 meant like you're only going to have 10 people at a time on your
Hmm.
roster as clients. So it's interesting to know like you're like music to the core, like it's in your veins, for you to have the playlist be like the starting point of the name. And so going back a little bit earlier when you mentioned how college and being a part of like the organization that helped foster the different fields in the music industry, was that was that safe to say that having that hands-on experience in college prepared you better than maybe your family you've always grown around, give you advice or help you? Or was it really like your college experience that shaped you to be where you are now? Or was it a mix of both?
It's definitely like a mix of both. Definitely a mix of both. I will say that college more so than home because my dad, who worked at ASCAP, he really he saw the business when it was in like its most raw form, like back in the
Yeah.
early 2000s, where people were actually making money by selling records and people were actually selling records, and they would actually have to get down and do like all of this groundwork. Not to say that we're not doing groundwork now, but like back then, it was like real hustle bustle. It was real like grimy back then, and
Right.
so he saw a lot of things that, or he experienced a lot of things, and maybe even done some things that he just didn't want me to be a part of. And so he was really advocating for me not to be in this industry as much as I loved it, as much as I loved music, as much as I wanted to explore all the options within this entertainment industry. He did not want me to explore it. And so when I went to college, I was focusing like on um, pre-law, and I was going to
Mhm.
go to law school for entertainment law, because that's what he told me to focus on, instead of trying to be like in the mix of all of this entertainment or this music industry stuff. He wanted me to
Yeah.
focus strictly on like entertainment law. And for a while that was an interest, but um like I said, I joined this organization and it kind of expanded my mind, and I got to be a part of things that I never thought I could be a part of. I got to use my brain and work with people in ways that I never thought that I could be able to do. And so I got a lot of hands-on experience from being in these rooms and working with these people who all had different titles. I had a team of 5 people because we
Mhm.
had several different departments. And so I was the president. And so there was a president, vice president, then there was head of audio production, there was head of event coordination, there was head of A&R, and there was head of marketing and PR. And so we would meet weekly, and we would have these meetings that would last 3 or 4 hours because we would always just be planning stuff and trying to figure out what is the best thing to do for the organization and how to discipline people, like all these things that people go through when they're in an actual building, and learning how to lean on each other for support and how to communicate effectively in order to reach the goal. And so I would definitely say that I got a lot of my um, core values from at home about this industry, about what to watch out for, how to conduct yourself, how to be the smartest person in the room, what to look out
Mhm.
for. Definitely got that at home, but actually like the hands-on on doing actually doing the work, um, actually experiencing it, talking to labels, sending emails, making sure I hit reply all and not just reply, and
Mm.
keeping everybody
Yeah.
on copy. Like all of that came from actually doing it in college. So I would say it's a happy medium, but more so college because I was actually getting my hands dirty and doing everything.
Right, exactly. I know that like you started your business right in the midst of the pandemic, and because you weren't seeing opportunities, in your field, you made one of your own by having your own business. But looking back, like, do you feel like you still made a good decision to jumpstart and have your own business and like your own management company, or do you feel like you would have loved having, like, being under like an established company to like get your feet wet first, or you don't regret, starting off so soon with your own?
Sometimes I go back and forth with that.
Mm,
Um, of course, my dad, he always tells me that, you did it backwards. Most people
mm,
go get in a building first and work their way up and then start a company. You started a company and possibly are looking to get into a building. So he always tells me that I did it backwards. But honestly, I don't regret the decision that I made in regards to starting my business when I wasn't, getting these callbacks from these jobs. Ultimately, I can say that any job that I've applied to, I've already worked within my company.
ooh, love it.
And so those people that I applied to their company to work for, they are hitting me up about my artist. And so I have no regrets because I wanted to be in these people's faces one way or another, and
Yeah.
I got into these people's faces in in a way that is mutually beneficial for both of us. And so, um, yeah, it would have been nice to, have a salary and, the letters by my name and all of that, and
Yeah.
just be in that network. But um, I feel like the route that I took is has benefited me in a way that I would have never dreamed of. And it has taken me places that I've never
Mm,
thought I could be. I've talked to people, I've been in parties and meetings and shows and on calls with a lot of powerful people. And so it's like, do I regret that? Absolutely
mm,
not. I
right.
don't regret that at all. So I think I made the right decision.
That's amazing. First of all, it's like an amazing testimony that it may not seem like the best or appear to be the best decision, but the fact that labels and just, top leaders in the industry are now hitting you up, that's a great accomplishment. I'm so happy for you.
Thank,
Um, like, that's
thank
amazing.
you.
It's like a full circle moment. Like, those
Hmm.
same places you applied, now you're, they want your calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's inspirational for sure. I wanted to know, like, um your clientele includes artists like Arsley and Jalen Josie, and I'm curious to know, what is it about those two in particular that set them apart and made you want to be a part of like their career journey?
Um, for one, both Arsley and Jalen are both have something that I feel like this industry is missing.
Mm,
I feel like the talents that they have, the way that they write, they're just their process. I feel like it's missing from R&B music now.
mm,
And when I see them create, when I see them go into the mode of this is what I'm going to talk about, this is what I'm going to write about, this is how I want to construct this song, it's a beautiful process. Um, and it's a very intentional process. I feel like we live in an industry now where there's a lot of stuff that sounds the same and there's not a lot of
mm,
effort being put into it. And there's also a lot of what can go viral fast. What can we
right.
get this TikTok dance to? And I just feel like I want real music. I was raised on real music. I was raised on storytelling. I was raised on live instrumentation. I was raised on um, people being um, are actually living through what they said, and
Mm-hmm.
pulling you into their world so that you can feel like you experienced it with them. And I feel like Arsley and Jalen do a very good job at that. Whenever I look to um, acquire new talent, I always look at what is it that you can offer the world that nobody is offering right now. Like what is it that you can do outside of just have a pretty voice,
Right.
and yeah, what is it that you do? What is it that you can do aside from just having a pretty voice and singing these songs? Arsley writes, he vocal arranges, he dabbles in production as well. He's amazing with graphic design. I know he did a couple of his covers as well. He is amazing when it comes to rollout strategies and
Mm.
just how they need to look. Um, and I feel like that's missing from a lot of people in terms of Jalen. I feel like Jalen is a household name waiting to happen. She's an entertainer. She dances, she sings, she acts. She was on Broadway, and sometimes it takes people years
You're
to
right.
get on Broadway. People are still trying to get on Broadway, and they have a whole name in this industry. Um, Even outside of that, Jalen produces. She writes her own music. She writes for other people. She knows how to write sheet music. She's a composer.
Mm.
Um, and just her storytelling is it transcends you. Um, and I feel like that's what's important is for both of them, their storytelling and their music is definitely needed. And all of the things that outside of just performing, both of them are amazing performers too. I don't know if I left that out, but outside of just like performing, they really understand how to create
Yeah.
music, and they understand how to create music that is digestible for not only people who are in our age group but for people who are even outside of our age group, older generations as well. My dad was telling me how he never really listened to Ari Lennox until Pressure. And I seen that a lot of older
Mm.
people really love that song and really caught on to like Ari Lennox and decided to jump on her catalog um, after Jalen wrote Pressure. And this is just what I've been told and what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
It probably isn't true for everybody, but in terms of just how that song really opened up the world for Ari Lennox. Like she went on an amazing tour.
Yeah.
Ari's career kind of like skyrocketed after that. Um, and just the storytelling within that song, it may seem simple, but that song goes for a reason. And so
Yeah.
and it's still a bop. It was one of the best songs that came out that year. So I say all of that to say I know it's long. I can talk about them for days because I
No, I
really,
love this. Like, these are, yeah, these are this is your family. So yes, please,
yeah,
please flex on them.
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate what they offer to the world. Um, I appreciate Arsley's vision. I appreciate his tenacity. I appreciate his outgoingness and him being okay with being unapologetically R&B. There are a
Mm.
lot of people who don't who are like, "Oh, I want to be this and this. I don't want to just categorize myself as just one thing," which is fine. But there's also nothing wrong with, being loud and proud about loving R&B music and
Right.
loving uh, how it became to be or how it came to be, and loving the people who set us up in order to even be able to experience music the way that we do. And so he's really rooted in, giving his flowers to the people that, set us up to be where we are. And you can hear that in his music. Same with Jalen. She loves
Mm.
Cab Calloway, Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald, all of those people, Stevie Nicks. And there's just a real appreciation for music that both of them have, and you hear it in their artistry. And I feel like that's missing. People don't know how to give flowers properly. And sampling is one thing.
Right.
Anybody can sample a song, but I want to hear the influence. I want to see the storytelling. I want to see how you took how Michael Jackson or how Beyonce or how Ella Fitzgerald or how all these people created their artistry, and how can you take teachings from them and apply it to your own. And I feel like they do that and still have created a sound for themselves. And so that's what I've always looked for with artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so all that to say, I'm very picky. I'm
Oh
very
yeah.
picky, but I have to be, because you have to have something that sticks out. You have to have something that sticks out.
Absolutely. Did Arsley and Jalen already have like a social media following and like a profile online before you decided to really pursue both of them, or or were you there from the beginning stages of really building that online presence? And I say that because like if people want to reach out to you, what are some of the things that people may need to already have kind of like lined up, for you to really get a sense of who they are as an artist?
Um, so for Jalen already had a presence online, um, through Broadway. So she was on
Okay.
Broadway, and she did music theater. And so she had an audience from that. And so I think when I met her, she had probably like 30,000 followers because she was on Broadway. And then when I first met her, that's when she dropped her first EP. She had two singles out before, but that's when she first dropped her EP. So I was kind of there for the beginning of Jalen's musical journey, and
Okay.
then whatever we worked on then, and or in between then and now is how we got her platform to be what it is. For Ardsley, I met Ardsley in college, actually. We were
Mm.
actually in the same organization. He was an artist in the organization.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I saw him become, like, he came on board as just a member, and then he was on the leadership board. And this was before he even decided to like pursue music. I believe a few people in the organization pushed him to um,
Mm.
start doing music, because he was a singer. I do believe that he majored in music in college, and he was in a course, I believe, a course in college. Yeah, probably. I think a choir course in college. Um, and so I was there when he put out his first single. He was in the organization when he put out his first single, and he was in the organization when he put out his second single, and that second single kind of like blew up organically, and then his EP kind of took off as well. And so
Mm.
I've been at the beginning. I've been there from the beginning for, I guess you could say, from Ardsley and for Jalen. Um, yeah, and just helping them blossom to what they've become today. I didn't start managing Ardsley until 2021.
Got it.
So
Okay.
I met him back in 2017. And then when I graduated
Mm.
college, that's when I started my management company and everything. And then he graduated, I believe, in 2020 as well, or 2020 or 2021 as well. And then that's when we entered into a management agreement, and that's when we started working. Um, and then same for Jalen. I met Jalen right when she put out her EP in 2020.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
I've been at the start for both of them. But Jalen did have a platform because
Right.
of Broadway. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting to know, like, kind of like the origin stories of like how you all connected
Mm-hmm.
together for, the top 10 uh artists. And so I'm curious to also know, like, okay, so as a founder of a managing and consulting company, what does like a typical day look like in your world? I know, any day can be different, or no 2 days are the same, but what can you kind of like uh give us a sense of like what a typical day could look like?
Yeah, sure. A typical day could look like I'll wake up probably around like 8, wake up
Mhm.
probably around like 8. I'll get my day started. I'll check my emails, respond back to emails. I'll usually have a meeting with Jalen's label at 12 noon. They love a noon meeting. Um, and then I'll just work on my laptop, maybe do some more research, figure out what other opportunities I can look for Jalen, for Arsley, um, check in with my team. If there's an event coming up, make sure that they reach out to whoever is performing or appearing in said event. Making sure that they check in with them and have everything that they need. Um, let's see what else. 9 times out of 10, somebody has a studio session,
Mm.
so I'll spend time at the studio, or I'll go late just to check in on them and everything. Um, lots of calls, lots of calls,
Mm.
lots of calls from A&Rs, from the label, from other, executives, or for people that are looking to um, reach out about inquiries for my clients. And yeah, it kind of varies. It kind of varies. There could be days where I am on the phone from 10 a.m. all the way up until 8 o'clock. Whether
Wow.
that be, like I said, talking to like people that are at Jalen's label or publishing company, inquiries, or talking to the artists about like what it is that they want to do, what are their next steps, what it is that they're working on, just checking in on them. And then other days it could be show days where I'll start my day probably at like 10, making sure I'm checking in with the venue, or making sure I'm checking in
Mhm.
with the curator of the show, making sure that we have everything we need, whether that be in ears, making sure the music is delivered, or the DJ has the music, making sure the equipment is good, making sure the writer has been fulfilled, um, checking on the artist, making sure that they're not going to be late. More than likely, they're going to be late. So, telling the venue that, hey, or the curator of the show, hey, my client is going to be showing up a few minutes late. And then spending my night at the venue. After that, talking, chatting with people after the show, connecting, getting numbers, setting up meetings, things of that nature. Um, I'll probably get home. I don't go to sleep no
Oh my
earlier than
God.
12. I probably
Mm.
don't go to sleep no earlier than 12. Um, I'll probably get home at like 2 a.m., probably 2 a.m., or be at between 1 and 2 a.m., decompress, and then do it all over again.
Oh my gosh. It's first of all, it sounds exhausting. But I'm curious, like when you have like, early mornings, late nights, where do you find balance for you? Because like your clients are at the forefront of like your day. Like, how do you make time for yourself?
Whew, a question. You know, I am working on that.
Okay.
I have not found the right recipe for work-life balance.
Mm.
I'm not, me and Jalen are best friends, and so we spend a lot of our time together. But I do, communicate with her when I need a break,
Mm.
when I need some me time, because like I said, it's really just one of me. I have two assistants, and sometimes, um, they're around. Sometimes there's stuff that I have to handle, you know, myself.
Right.
And so um I do a lot of like moving around. I do a lot of ideating. I do a lot of like thinking about what's the next move because as creatives, especially for, you know, my clients, there are times where, you know, people can just get lost. People cannot just know like what their next step might be. And so it's me, they're leaning on me for support and sometimes I have to be their brain at times and
Yeah.
like really tap in and really like figure out, okay, I know they want to do this and this. Who can I hit up? Who can I, you know, talk to? What opportunities are out there? Like I've been on
Hmm.
LinkedIn and I've searched who is the talent coordinator at the Braves Stadium so we can sing this national anthem or saying like or tapping in with my contacts. Who knows somebody at the Hawks
Mm.
or you know things like that or just like really just researching and figuring out different opportunities that I can present to them because I have to keep this show moving. I have to keep this boat moving
Yeah.
because they have goals that they want to achieve, and so do I. And honestly, I almost feel like when I help my clients achieve their goals, I'm achieving my goals as well. And so,
Yeah.
um, I I love to work. I love to think. I love to help strategize. I love to help them figure out what their next move is, and I love to what am I trying to say? I love to see an idea come into fruition or
Yes.
see an idea come to life. And so when they're happy, I'm happy. When they're sad, I'm not content and I'm gonna figure it out. You know, it's a lot of like convincing them like this train can't stop. You can't stop. We gotta keep
Right.
going. And I need to I'm trying to teach myself, you know, yes, pour into your clients, pour into them. You love them, they're also your friends, but you need to pour into yourself because sometimes it can get to be a lot. And I'm always on go. I'm always moving. I'm always trying to figure it out. My mentor is just telling me, yeah, Anna was just telling me, Anna was just telling me over the summer, like, you got Jalen doing the best press tour of her life because she is booked and busy. Because over the summer, Jalen had nonstop things. It was one thing after the other, and I was just trying to make sure she was busy. And to this day, for everybody, I try to make sure that they're busy. I try to make sure that they're doing
Right.
stuff, and I try to make sure I'm very honest with them in terms of like the level that they're at and what we need to do to get to the next level. Um, and sometimes that takes um, everybody stepping back and just planning and figuring out
Yeah.
what the next step is. But there's always something to do. But in 2024, Taryn is going to get better about unplugging, about
Ooh.
having, you know, having some office hours or some office hours and really no, I hate not answering the phone. I hate not answering the
Ooh.
phone. But sometimes it's okay to decline that call. Sometimes it's
It
okay
is.
to respond to that email tomorrow or respond to that text tomorrow. Those people will be okay. If it's time sensitive, that's one thing. But those people will be okay because my mental health and
Mhm.
my strength and all of those things need to be recharged, need to be reset.
Listen, you are preaching to me because, like, when I ask that work life, when I ask about work life balances, it's because I also want to kind of like steal some tips because I'm in that same boat of like I really can't turn it off because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
publicist, and so I'm always just thinking of new ideas. What's the next pitch angle? What's the story I can, have for a client? And I feel like even in my downtime, I'm always thinking of something new and just
Mm-hmm.
trying to like figure out what's next. So like, yeah, I need that. I need that pep talk as well for 2024. For
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
absolutely. It's just about I know that in this current state, I've had a I've had a long year. I've had a long year. I've done a lot this year.
Yeah.
I've had to be honest with my clients like, "Hey guys, I'm experiencing burnout." I am burning. It's been a long year. We've done a lot of stuff. I'm going to give what I can, but there are days where I'm going to have to unplug and take a step back because I have a lot going on. And it's been a lot this year. And so I think this is the first year where I'm like, I am truly tired. This is the first year where I can, and they understand and they see all the effort and energy that I put into them. And so they understand, like, okay, Taryn really is tired and she's experiencing burnout. I received that. So um it really comes down to like making sure that I know how much I need to give energy wise and how much I need to um like save, like ration. I need to ration out my energy. I need to be mindful of what it is that I can commit to at that time and what it is that I can't commit to at that time. And so just being mindful of how I'm spending my time and how much time I'm spending on stuff and how much time I'm giving to myself.
Right.
So it's good to be a workaholic. It's good to, put all this energy into your work because as entrepreneurs, we can always get scared about like being stagnant. Like if we're not
Yeah.
doing nothing, we feel like we're not, propelling our career or doing things to propel our career. But sometimes it's okay to take a step back and just breathe and be still. I'm practicing stillness. Like some days I just need to just sit, be still, and sit in silence. There are times where I drive in my car and I don't listen to music. I just listen to the earth around me or the world around me.
Same. Yeah.
So yeah.
That was
So yes.
beautifully said. Yeah, I
Thank
feel like
you.
we all need to like take a step back sometimes, just to
Hmm.
have like personal days or maybe personal weeks. Maybe we need sabbaticals to just really like
Right.
step away and then come back brand new. And I can definitely feel like, maybe on your perspective as a business owner, all of the responsibilities fall on you. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I can definitely understand how it is hard to really like, how do you step back when you have, so many eyes and so many people, leaning on you, but it's necessary
Hmm.
for sure. Because, we all want longevity in our industries. And so we
Yeah.
don't want the burnout to always be like a recurring thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, to wrap up our lovely chat, earlier you talked about like, you love making playlists and you just have like an affinity for music. So a part of my podcast, I'm going to have a playlist that every guest has contributed to. And I would love to know if you have two all-time favorite songs or maybe your current songs right now that best represent your personality, because I will add it to my list.
Ooh. Oh, that's so hard. Oh, I hate questions. It's so hard because I love music. I just love music. Okay. So let's see. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm in the hot seat. None of these questions made me feel like I was in the hot seat, but this one.
But this one.
I will say, um, the song that I've been listening to right now that is like makes me feel good. I don't know if it actually represents. I guess it can represent like my aura and how like I or the energy that I give off. Like I feel like I give off
Yeah.
like a really warm and feel good energy. There's a song called Two Step in the Living Room by Alex Isley and Terrace Martin off their new EP. I
Okay.
love that one. That one feels so good. I've been listening to it on repeat. Um, let's see, what other songs have I been listening to? One more, just one more.
It could be several, it
Okay.
could be an album and I choose a song based on your recommendation. Like it could be a mix of, however you want it to be.
Let's see. Okay, so Ars Lee has the song called Press Pause. And it's
Okay.
so beautiful. It's about taking a step back and looking at the world around you and really just taking everything in and understanding that, we go through ups and downs and life can pass us by, but sometimes you just need to
Mm.
press pause and take a step back and like take everything in and really
Ooh.
understand like what, you're going through and feeling your feelings. So Press Pause by Ars Lee. I love that song. I listen to that song
Ooh.
all the time. It's so good. Oh my gosh. And I'm not just saying that because it's my client. Like my
Right.
clients, I have to like love their music. Like I have to listen to their music on repeat. Um,
Exactly. Yeah. You have to
because I
love
have
the
to be
art.
right. I have to be the biggest fan first. If I'm not a big fan of your music, then we can't work. And I'm not gonna be able to advocate for you the way that I want to because I'm not really
Exactly.
feeling it myself. So love
Yeah.
Press Pause by Arsley. Let's see. You know what's really crazy? I only listen to like my playlist and like Jalen and Arsley, and I have a new client named Matt McGee. So I really only listen to
Ooh.
those three. Matt has this song called Muscle Memory that is
Ooh.
amazing. Um, so that's the Matt McGee song, Muscle Memory.
Okay. Let's
And
get a
then
Jalen to round
yeah,
it off.
might as well do Jalen. Jalen has a beautiful song called Willie's Interlude, and it's about her grandfather and a story
Ooh.
that he told her about his time in Vietnam. And I love Willie's Interlude. It's the perfect song to commemorate him by. And it really is a song that takes you through a wave of emotions. It starts low, then it builds up, and ultimately like climaxes into this like beautiful beautiful thing. And it's just a really feel good song. So yeah, those are my songs.
Awesome.
That's
Perfect.
four. You asked for two, that's four. But hopefully,
Yes, I loved it all. Yes. Listen, I've had album suggestions and just whole K-pop genres a part of the
oh
playlist. So
wow,
it's been a wide mix of like this, like final, like end of the year playlist is going to be something. So I'm happy that, the last four is like, a mix of your personal phase from your friends, but also, what really speaks to your character and your energy.
oh, thank you. I love that.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you so much, Taryn, for joining the Green Light with Shayla Needs. I so appreciate you saying yes, and really like taking a chance and stepping out and, having a conversation with me. I don't take it for granted. Earlier this year during the summertime, that's when we first met. Actually during one
Mhm.
of like Jalen's music events that she had going on.
Yeah,
So
at the gathering spot, I
yeah, at the
remember.
Gathering Express. So it was like
Mhm.
it was a beautiful time to actually witness her live with the band and interacting with the crowd and really getting going, but also watching you um run back and forth and making sure things were set and actually seeing you in work mode. I admired that about you for our first interaction. So I'm so excited
Yeah.
that was like a great summer experience, not only for your client, but to also, get to see you because you were just as warm and sweet as you are on our chat. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. I'm trying to get better at talking in like public forums like this. And so like I am definitely appreciative of the opportunity. You're definitely helping me build my platform, or at least I'm always hiding behind my clients, but
Mm,
this helps people see who's behind the client. So
absolutely.
and who's behind the brand. So I really appreciate you and giving me this opportunity. I don't take it for granted.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you so much. Okay, so if you love today's guest and our green light convo, please tell someone, your mama, daddy, cousin, sister, brother, auntie, uncle, about the show and be on the lookout for the next episode.